Hey guys, what is up? It's your boy Vijalarazzi, and today is Monday, so that means that today is my Monday market overview. So I'm going to be taking a look at a few different altcoins, kind of show you how the market's moving, and some things like that. In today's video, I hope to talk about the overall market sentiment and kind of show you guys what is going on from my perspective. So if we come in here, we can see we have a market cap of 286 billion. 24-hour volume of 14.5 billion and a BTC dominance of 46.4%. BTC dominance is climbing a little bit. We had a little bit of a rise the last couple days. Last night it was about 74.20. Today it's at 77.25. So we had a little bit of a $300 spike. We'll look to see if price can maintain this upward trajectory. We're currently riding just below the trending support line. So if we can break back into trending support, that's going to be very good. I talked about that in my last video. If you haven't watched my last video, I highly recommend that you go back and watch that. I went through and did my Bitcoin technical analysis. I gave you guys a little bit of a picture of what I'm expecting with Bitcoin and where I see it going and performing in the next little while. Taking a look at the top altcoins and cryptocurrencies, we can see that overall the market's a little bit down. There are some risers, but for the most part it's a little bit stagnant. This is what's to expect. Anytime Bitcoin takes a good move, a few $100s on the upside, it'll bleed some of the altcoins and some of them will actually ride with it. Right now it's just a little bit of indecision. The coins have been going down a little bit the last few weeks, and I am expecting that for the most part we should see a short-term relief rally. We might see some of the coins pick up a little bit in green as Bitcoin finishes its upward movement. Remember that anytime Bitcoin's going up, it's taking some of the volume out of the alts. Once Bitcoin starts to retrace, some of that alt will actually leave Bitcoin and those profits will go back into the altcoins, which is why we'll see sometimes a little bit of a tick in volume or in price action. The altcoin markets are pretty much just average. Not too many risers, not too many fallers. They're just kind of just moving along, waiting to see what Bitcoin's going to do, whether it's going to break through this resistance or whether this resistance is too strong and we're actually going to fall back and test some previous supports. So a couple things I wanted to look at. Total market capitalization, we're starting to, looks like we have maybe a short-term bottom. We at this lowest point at about 247 billion, we've had a lower high, and with this lower high we had this nice little uptick in volume coming in, so that's a very good sign overall. Like I said, we need to see what Bitcoin's going to do because that's the driver of all markets. None of this really matters unless Bitcoin can assert market dominance and go up a little higher and break back into trending support. Total market capitalization or Bitcoin's dominance looks good. It looks like we're starting to see some nice accumulation down here in these lows. I think that for this next alt rally, a good picture we could see is anywhere from 50 to 60% dominance. Usually Bitcoin will have a little bit of a rally and it'll bleed a lot of the altcoins and send them to all-time lows or near all-time lows. Bitcoin will kind of top out and have a short-term correction, and then that'll let up off of the alts, and then some of that volume will actually leave Bitcoin, go back into the alts, and then that's kind of when we start that alt season. We'll generally have about a 20% sell-off across the board. I don't think that for the now we've hit that total capitulation in the alts. I still feel like we have a little bit more to go. Overall, I think we're getting really close to that point. It looks like Bitcoin is finding a short-term bottom. For the now, I still see a little bit more downside to come in the alts, and I think the Bitcoin's going to have to rally a little bit more and push that dominance a little bit higher before we can see that beloved alt season like we always wish to see. So a couple coins I'm going to be watching out for. For this video, we're going to be talking about Ethereum, XRP, EOS, and Litecoin. Some of these older coins I feel like are really great holds that a lot of people forget about. Everybody's so quick to jump on these new upcoming alts with all the hype. Some of these older coins have been able to withstand Bitcoin's bear markets and the pullbacks, so that's why it's a good idea to hedge some of that money that you have into some of these older projects, due to the fact that with Bitcoin retracing and a lot of uncertainty in the market, it's a good idea to hold some of these because they have proven that they can maintain upward trajectory and just stay the course of the crypto market with Bitcoin having its ups and downs. So that's why I picked some of these coins. We're going to take a look at them and just kind of see what my picture is and where I see these coins moving in the short term to long term. Let's get right into this. I'll transition to my screen and we'll have a look at some of these coins. So the first coin on my list is going to be Litecoin. I chose Litecoin because of the fact that it's one of the first coins that really starts to lead the market cap for the altcoin whenever it starts to go on the upside. So with Litecoin, we had this takeoff period that lasted about 6 or 7 months, followed by prices soaring to all-time highs, hitting at about $360 at its peak level. And then prices retraced back down into this falling wedge pattern. This falling wedge pattern is a reversal as well as a continuation pattern, and we're currently seeing prices rest upon the 786 Fibonacci level. Now, this Fibonacci level, in my previous videos, I've talked about why it's my favorite for targets when it comes to buying up these coins that are falling, and that comes down to this 786 and the 88.3 Fibonacci. Those are my two favorite zones when it comes to accumulating cheap coins, because of the fact oftentimes you'll see a bounce at the 786 or the 88.3, and that's also often the time in which that's the lowest low that the market will see in its correction. Prices have retraced down into this falling wedge pattern. We're currently resting on the 786 with prices testing this outer resistance zone of this falling wedge pattern. So for here, this isn't enough that you could be able to call it a breakout. There's not enough volume coming in, and really the prices are just stabbing at the outside. So in no way, shape, or form is this a breakout of this falling wedge fractal. However, what it does signal is that prices are reacting and they are getting squeezed tighter and tighter into this little corner that we have formed. As Bitcoin retests this trending support zone that it fell out of, if it can break back through that, then that's going to give enough of these alts that extra push needed to kind of break out of these patterns and these descending wedges that they've found themselves in. Litecoin specifically. If Bitcoin can break back into trending support, then I expect a rally to come in Litecoin to push it somewhere up, maybe to $110. That would be a good target for it. For me personally, I have little buy positions that I'm laddering in as this price goes lower and lower. Some of my long-term holds, I just have some low buy orders set down in here, waiting to get filled. They may or may not, but that's why we just have to wait and see what the market's actually going to do. A breakout of this falling wedge would be very good for the bulls. It would indicate a reversal as well as a continuation pattern. I talked about that in some of my other videos. But a couple targets to watch out for if we can manage to break out of this falling wedge is about $140 to about $180. Those are some really solid targets, and it could go anywhere from $140 all the way up to about $250 on some high-end targets. It looks like it's coming towards the terminal end of its correction. Like I said, it's falling in this falling wedge pattern, which is a reversal as well as a continuation pattern. So we really need to be watching and seeing how price reacts to this bottom. We need to see some volume coming in. That would indicate that we could see a breakout of this falling wedge. And another thing to watch out for, if prices can't maintain support here, I expect a little bit of a pullback to about the $40 to $50 range. Somewhere in there is a good area to be accumulating your cheap Litecoin, awaiting for price to bounce and continue on its rally. So let's go take a look at the next coin. Ethereum is the #2 leading cryptocurrency with a market cap of $46 billion. It's always the one that leads the cryptocurrencies, especially the altcoins, whenever Bitcoin decides to make its move. Anytime the altcoins start rising, Ethereum's going to be that one that starts leading the pack. We have this uptrending channel that Ethereum's been riding in since its creation. Every time prices come down to touch this lower part of the trend, we get a strong bounce to the upside. Bounce. The last time we hit this trend line and it didn't bounce all the way to the upside was back here in December, and we only got about a 400 to 350% bounce in this move. And now prices are retracing and we're actually heading back to that lower trending support channel. If you were to buy the trend line all these previous times, you would be getting a very, very good bounce. Every time price bounces and hits this upper trend line, it's about 1400% for that move. About 1600% in that move. This one was a little bit less, about 350% move. And now we're getting that secondary bounce once more down in here. If prices can rally and hit back up to the top of this trending channel, then that's going to be about a 1200% move. The reason why I'm accumulating at these cheap prices is because according to the past history, every time price hits this trend line, we get a strong bounce off of it, and then price rallies. Keep in mind, the last time price did this, we didn't quite get a full rally, which is why I expect with this bounce, I expect a very strong bullish push back up. Keep in mind that there's very, very little volume coming into this market, which we should see a reversal of that trend changing very soon. I expect to see new buyers coming in as we venture closer to this trend line, but it's just some things to be watching out for. Ethereum's a very great long-term hold, and it has a lot of very good long-term potential. So accumulating close to this trend line is going to give you a very, very good risk to reward ratio setup to where you're not risking a whole lot, but the upside to come is potentially very, very high. So I will be looking to accumulate as prices venture closer to this trend line with some of my long-term portfolio. Like I said, Ethereum is the #2 leading cryptocurrency. So this trend, this overall trend that we've been following, is more often than not going to hold. And in fact, I think it's very unlikely that we fall through this. Next on our list is XRP. Now, XRP is one that has retraced about 95% of its value from previous all-time high. Keep in mind, with the dollar charts, this happens a lot. Even with the Bitcoin charts, it happens a lot. But what you generally see with these dollar charts is when they start retracing, they retrace very hard and very quick. Sometimes the Bitcoin charts will retrace pretty quickly, but they'll kind of leave a lot of room to consolidate while the dollar chart just continues to go down. Whenever these coins retrace like this and they retrace this hard, it allows you to get a lot of really cheap accumulative bids in this market before price starts to eventually break out and go back onto the upside. So it would be a good idea to start accumulating at these low cheap prices, sell into some buying pressure anytime a little bit of a rally comes in, but look to be accumulating as we enter these low stages of the market itself. If prices go lower, I would expect a retest of about probably around 25 cents if we break through support right here. Overall, I think that the breakthrough support is unlikely. I think that we'll manage to hold at this 88.3% Fibonacci. What we've seen so far is we had this little downtrending channel. Prices actually broke out of that, and we've now landed on support with this big wick down to retest that. Price broke out of this descending channel, and now we've landed on support onto that channel. So I expect a short-term rally to ensue with XRP, something we could expect. If prices can maintain support here, I'd expect us to go rally back up and test this 786, or it's possible we even break back up into that, and then that 786 resistance then becomes support. But overall, I think we'll test that, and then we'll come down, consolidate some more, before we end up going back on the upside once more. Whenever these coins start retracing this suddenly, you're going to have to leave them time to accumulate. Keep in mind, just because price is breaking out of this downtrending channel, it doesn't mean the whole thing's going to flip and it's all just going to go up again. We have to wait and have these little times where prices rally and then they accumulate. You're going to want to be accumulating when it's cheap and then selling into this pressure, but overall, look to be accumulating in these prices. It doesn't matter how big the gains are necessarily, but if you can accumulate and get a good entry down here in these lower prices, then when the next rally pursues, you're going to be holding those from very cheap prices to where it's easy to just scale out when prices are going back up again. It looks like we're coming to the terminal end of its correction. We broke out of this downtrending channel here, and it looks like we'll have some short-term gains to come. If prices break through support here, I expect a retest of about 25 cents. That would be likely. And then that could be our potential bottom to form. Lastly, we have a coin that was very hyped during its initial ICO launch, and that is EOS. EOS is a coin that hasn't been around very long. 2018 should see lots and lots of upside for this project as it continues to move forward in its market cycle. We had the first rally, and then prices retraced back onto previous all-time high. We're now getting ready for the second market cycle to come, and that's what's being formed currently. I like to draw Elliott waves to keep track of where we are in the cycle. This is a coin that's fifth wave gets really, really crazy. So some of these coins to watch out for, whenever there's lots of hype in a coin, this fifth wave gets really, really obnoxiously big. In the first market cycle, we had this little 1 wave, then we have this 2 wave, and then this 5 wave that just goes absolutely crazy. With these really hyped coins, they make huge fifth waves because the hype just never stops coming. Generally, what you want to see with Elliott waves is this 2 to 3 wave is the biggest with the highest volume. In this case, we did have the highest volume in both of these. However, as far as price expansion goes, this fifth wave was much bigger in both of these market cycles. And then we had the retrace of this secondary market cycle. And now that's where we're at currently. Now, this is just wave 1. We're getting ready for a much bigger wave in this market cycle. But first we have to retrace and shake out all of the noobs. So if we come in here for a second, we've retraced basically back onto the initial move. So this was wave 1. We've retraced back onto that all-time, or that high of wave 1, and it looks to me like we could be seeing signs of a short-term reversal. We have this downtrend resistance that we formed, and prices are looking like they're going to come up and retest that somewhat soon. So with that retest, we'll be able to find out whether we're going to break through or not, and prices are going to fall lower. Overall, it seems unlikely that prices are going to really want to break too much lower. It looks like we're in a little inverse head and shoulder reversal pattern. If this right shoulder can hold right here, then I expect prices to come up and test this resistance zone. If we confirm that this is an inverse head and shoulder, then I actually expect prices to break out of this downtrending resistance that we have made here. Keep in mind, if we can break out of this downtrending resistance, then I do expect to see some upside to follow. Some short-term targets. If we can hold support right here in this right shoulder, then my first target's going to be up here at about $9 or $10. Right here at about the 236. So $9 or $10 is a good target for this inverse head and shoulder if we can confirm and get a breakout of that. If we break that, then it's likely that we could see another rally up to about 11.5 to 12 cents, or $12, forgive me. But that's what I'm looking at for the now. We still have this downtrending resistance that we need to watch out for, but we're coming towards the terminal end of that correction. We are starting to see the indications that this coin will reverse soon. If we can manage to break and reverse out of this small market cycle, big picture, my target's going to be about $50 for this next coming move. Anywhere from about $40 to $50 is going to be my next couple targets. So these were my picks for this week's Monday market overview. If you like this video, always remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more. I will be posting more updates on this channel, so just check in for that. If you're wondering where these charts that I post end up going, I have a link to my trading view in the description below. You can click on that. And then all of the coins I talk about on my channel, I will be posting updates and further analysis on my trading view. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.